Players usually win awards at the peak of their powers. Yet, a select few like LeBron James can still perform at an elite level even in the twilight of their careers. With LeBron still playing at a high level and seemingly setting new records every other week, it raises an interesting question: who are the most senior players to earn the NBA's highest individual honors? To answer this, we compiled the oldest players to win recognition for each individual award in the NBA over the years. Clutch Player of the Year. Stephen Curry, an award with even less history. Curry is the oldest player to win Clutch Player of the Year, which he did last season as a 36-year-old. He's also one of just 2 players ever to win the award. Oh, and despite Curry's clutchness, the Warriors missed the playoffs that season. NBA Cup MVP. LeBron James. There have been 2 NBA Cups so far, and it's hard to say either has been a rousing success. We even had to come up with ways to fix it. Regardless, we say that to note it's unclear how much longer the NBA Cup will even be a thing. So James might own this distinction. That of being the oldest player to ever win NBA Cup MVP forever. Player of the Month. LeBron James. This season, James also became the oldest player to win Player of the Month. He did so in February. James took the distinction of being the oldest player to win Player of the Month from Karl Malone, who set the previous record at 37 years old. NBA Champion. Robert Parrish. Robert Parrish's illustrious 21-year NBA career began in the 1976-77 season and ended in 1996-97, with the big man ending his time in the NBA as a member of the Chicago Bulls. Parrish played spot minutes for the 97 Bulls, averaging 3.7 points and 2.1 rebounds over 43 regular season appearances. Parrish saw action in 2 games in the playoffs that season, spanning 18 total minutes in the 97 postseason as a 43-year-old. Parrish became the oldest player to win an NBA championship that season with Chicago. Most Valuable Player. Karl Malone. Bit of an asterisk on this one, as Karl Malone became the oldest player to win MVP in '99, which was the second most recent lockout season. That means Malone won the award in a 50-game regular season. Even so, it was an impressive accomplishment for Malone, especially to do it as a 35-year-old. The mailman averaged 23.8 points, 9.4 rebounds, 4.1 assists and 1.3 steals on 49.3% shooting over 49 games in '99 as the Utah Jazz went 37-13. Finals MVP. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. If the Lakers can win a championship over the next season or 2, it's very possible this record will also fall to LeBron James. Regardless, for now, underrated GOAT candidate Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the oldest player to take home Finals MVP, doing so as a 38-year-old in the 1984-85 season. Abdul-Jabbar averaged 25.7 points, 9.0 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 1.0 steals and 1.5 blocks on 60.4% shooting over 6 games in the '85 Finals, as the Lakers beat the rival Celtics 4-2 to take home the championship that year. Eastern Conference Finals MVP, Jimmy Butler. This award is only 3 years old as of 2025, so who knows how many times this distinction will change hands over the next decade. Regardless, as of now, Golden State Warriors swingman Jimmy Butler is the oldest player to have won Eastern Conference Finals MVP, a feat he pulled off in 2022-23. That postseason, as a 33-year-old, Butler led the 8-seeded Miami Heat to a 7-game upset victory over the number 2 seed Celtics. Butler averaged 24.7 points, 7.6 rebounds, 6.1 assists and 2.6 steals over 7 games in that series. All-Star. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Abdul-Jabbar is also the oldest player to make an All-Star team, which he did roughly 2 months short of being 42 years old. James will need to play another 2 seasons to break this record, because if he is named an All-Star next season, very likely if he doesn't unexpectedly retire, he'll be 41 days and fewer than 60 days old. Abdul-Jabbar was named an All-Star that year by the Western Conference head coaches, making the final team as a reserve. Western Conference Finals MVP. Stephen Curry. In 2021 and 22, two-time league MVP Stephen Curry became the oldest player to win Western Conference Finals MVP, pulling it off as a 34-year-old. In that year's Western Conference Finals, the Warriors defeated the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games, with Curry averaging 23.8 points, 6.6 rebounds and 7.4 assists while shooting 43.9% from 3. All-NBA First Team, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Part of why Abdul-Jabbar sits third in our all-time GOAT ranking is his longevity. As a 38-year-old in '86, Abdul-Jabbar became the oldest player to earn first-team All-NBA honors, a distinction he owns to this day. Abdul-Jabbar earned his first and his final first-team All-NBA 15 years apart, showing just how ridiculous his longevity was. In 1985-86, the UCLA legend averaged 23.4 points, 6.1 rebounds, 3.5 assists and 1.6 blocks as his Lakers went 62-20. For what it's worth, as of now, LeBron James's last first-team All-NBA came when he was 35 years old. Defensive Player of the Year, Dikembe Mutombo. Playing elite defense is a young man's game in the NBA, as the level of athleticism required to be a top-notch point stopper is of the highest caliber. As such, only 8 of the NBA's 42 all-time Defensive Players of the Year have been older than 30 years old. The oldest among them to win the award was legendary shot blocker Dikembe Mutombo, who achieved the feat in 2001 at 34 years old. That season, Mutombo averaged 13.5 rebounds and 2.7 blocks and was the defensive anchor for the Philadelphia 76ers team that made the surprising NBA Finals run in '01. All-Defensive First Team, Bruce Bowen. The oldest player to earn the other major annual defensive accolade, First Team All-Defense, was San Antonio Spurs forward Bruce Bowen, who was 36 the last time he made it for the last time. Bowen did have a reputation for being a dirty defender, one who'd put his feet in opposing shooters, landing zones, but there's no doubt his questionable methods were very effective. Bowen was the top defensive wing on a Spurs team that ranked third in defensive rating that year. Rookie of the Year, David Robinson. Former number 1 overall pick Ben Simmons caught flack from fans online for winning Rookie of the Year after being forced to sit out what would have been his actual rookie campaign due to injury. The joke was that Simmons was too old to win the award. But Simmons was still just 21 when he won Rookie of the Year. Another former number 1 pick, David Robinson, is the actual oldest player to win Rookie of the Year, doing so at well over 24 years old. Robinson not only played all 4 years of college, but after being drafted in 1987, he also had to fulfill 2 years of active duty with the Navy, hence why he was so much older for a rookie. Sixth Man of the Year. Jamal Crawford tied with Lou Williams for most times winning Sixth Man of the Year. Jamal Crawford owns the distinction for also being the oldest player to win Sixth Man of the Year, doing so at just over 36 years old in 2015 and 16. That season saw Crawford average 14.2 points and 2.3 assists for a Los Angeles Clippers team that went 53-29. All-Rookie First Team. Arvydas Sabonis. One of the biggest what-if players in NBA history, Arvydas Sabonis was a dominant player overseas for years before finally arriving in the top basketball league in the world, doing so after he had already been slowed down by injuries. Making his official NBA debut at 30 years old, Sabonis would go on to become the oldest player to be named first-team All-Rookie at well over 31 years old. Sabonis averaged 14.5 points, 8.1 rebounds and 1.1 blocks in his rookie season in the NBA, finishing second in Rookie of the Year voting and second in Sixth Man of the Year. Most Improved Player, Darrell Armstrong. Now this is a fun one because Most Improved Player is arguably the least objective award, with the vote often being all over the place. And it's hard to blame voters for that. After all, what constitutes a player improving? Can a player who was already good win Most Improved Player for going from good to great? Or does a player have to go from playing spot minutes to being a starter to be considered Most Improved? In the last 5 years, 2 players who were former number 2 overall picks, Ja Morant and Brandon Ingram, have won Most Improved Player. So they came in with huge expectations, met them pretty early on in their careers, and still won Most Improved Player. Bizarre. Anyhow, Darrell Armstrong is the oldest player to win Most Improved Player. He accomplished the feat in '99 as a 30-year-old. Armstrong didn't even make his NBA debut until he was 26. From '98 to '99, he went from 9.2 points and 4.9 assists per game to averaging 13.8 points and 6.7 assists per game, which was enough for him to win Most Improved Player in 1998-99, as well as 6th Man of the Year. He even got MVP votes that season. Hustle Award. Thaddeus Young starting in 2016 and 17. The Hustle Award doesn't have much history to it. Regardless, versatile power forward Thaddeus Young is the oldest player to win the Hustle Award, which he did in 2020 and 21 as a 32-year-old. Kudos to Young for being able to keep up that level of hustle nearly in his mid-30s. Young averaged 12.1 points, 6.2 rebounds, 4.3 assists and 1.1 steals that season and also finished 14th in 6th Man of the Year voting.